I'm Kevin O'Connor. I work with a team at this old house that rebuilds old homes. I'm on a trip to meet another team. Most of them spent years volunteering to serve their country. Now, they volunteer to rebuild lives. When people run away from disaster, these are the men and women who run towards it. Their mission is to help the neediest. They call themselves Team Rubicon. While I'm in the middle of my deployment in Fort Myers cleaning up after Hurricane Ian, Team Rubicon has been busy tracking severe weather out west.
So Sacramento's over here. There's reports coming in of flooding and wind and trees down.
Up and down the state of California, residents are bracing for potentially record-setting amounts of rain. I guess my job is to put myself on the volunteer list in case it actually gets real.
Yep, definitely.
It did get real, and fast. Team Rubicon launched Operation River Rain, and a few days later, I was on my way to Sacramento, which was forecasted to bear the brunt of the storm. Well, the folks keeping an eye on the weather for TR know what they're doing, because as predicted, the rains have come to California, and in a pretty big way. California's been getting whacked by these things called atmospheric rivers. Basically, these sort of very narrow streams of weather with this really moisture-laden air that comes off of the ocean, and when it makes landfall, it just drops all of that moisture, either as rain or snow, and it comes down fast and it comes down heavy. And it often causes a lot of flooding, which it did. A lot of trees have come down because of the high wind and the completely saturated ground, shallow root systems. If you look at that tree right there, I mean, that's a good indication, because that is, well, it's standing in standing water. And, you know, it's gonna be like that for maybe a week or so. So a gust of wind or some sustained winds and something like that right there could easily come down. It's like the place here early, meeting with what they call ADVON, and that's basically the advanced team that will get here before the bulk of the volunteers, because they've got to set up C&G, Commanding General Staff, as well as the place for the billeting and food, where all the volunteers are going to stay. The TR fobs are all over the place. Sometimes they're at government buildings. I've been to a state park, to a Legion Hall, and today they told me to come to Cal Expo. 350 acres of exhibition space. They've got the big California State Fair here. They also have racing. And today we are setting everything up right here at the racetrack. Hey there, Kevin.
Hello, Kevin. Norman.
Norman, are you the IC?
I am.
Norman is the incident commander, which means he's running the operation.
You guys are getting set up? We are.
I'd soon learn that Norman was already planning to be in Sacramento, but for a different operation.
So it was going to be fire mitigation. It was going to be fire mitigation. And then Mother Nature throws a curveball.
Norman was waiting for a team of Sawyers set to descend on California's capital city to clear brush and vegetation ahead of the state's wildfire season. But due to the record flooding, the operation shifted from mitigation to response.
You stand one operation down, but immediately stood another one right up.
Had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just the need.
All right. Well, let me help you stand up the new one. I guess I'll start moving boxes.
Hey, I'm Kevin.
Kevin, I'm Art.
Art, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
I am here to help. First time I've gotten to a fob this early.
We're going to be setting up cots so that people have a place to sleep. We're expecting around 50 people.
Okay.
But then, in addition, this weekend, we happen to have a Sawyer class.
Up until now, I haven't been certified as a Sawyer with Team Rubicon. I've been able to swamp or clear debris by hand. But Sawyers, or chainsaw operators, are in need on this operation to break down the massive trees that came down in the wind and rain. So, in order to pitch in where it's needed most, my plans will also change. And tomorrow, I'll join that Saw 1 class.
That's us. That's Team Rubicon, what they call Semper Gumby. So we're always ready to move, be fluid. Head is always on a swivel, ready to rock and roll.
That's not the first time I've heard the term Semper Gumby. It's a play on the Marines' motto, Semper Fi, or Semper Fidelis, always faithful. Within Team Rubicon, it means always flexible, like the green claymation character Gumby from the 50s.
All right. So the cots are down, ready to receive gray shirts. Most of the equipment is in, the C&G material is here, and this fob is pretty much ready to receive a wave of gray shirts for the very beginnings of a 4-week op right here.
Tomorrow, I chainsaw. Team Rubicon doesn't dole out chainsaws to just anyone. I can't walk in, check a few boxes on a questionnaire, then pick up my saw at the end of the line. First, I need Sawyer training, the TR way. Like an army, there's a ranking system with sawyering, and it starts with Sawyer 1, or S1. As an S1, I'll be able to operate a chainsaw with supervision from someone with a higher rank. Kenneth Peebles is one of my instructors. He's an Air Force veteran turned gray shirt.
My students, they come from all walks of life. They're office people. There's people who've never seen a chainsaw. That's okay. There's no judgments.
My preferred method is to run the saw for a brief period of time.
I found Team Rubicon in 2017 at Hurricane Harvey.
It was during his time volunteering in Texas that he realized just how critical Sawyers were to aiding the Team Rubicon mission.
The amount of work that we can, as a small army with small saws, go out and do is just amazing.
Down trees are a major hazard and can be extremely dangerous for residents to clear on their own. Folks who are already dealing with an overwhelming amount of disruption to their lives.
I've been on many deployments, and you go into neighborhoods, and sometimes it's really amazing how they just lost everything. This is the first time in their life, probably, that they've been affected like this. Sometimes I get emotional with this because I've sat in front yards and cried with people. You know, it means so much to them. The work we do for them would cost between like $5,000 and $10,000 for them to pay somebody, whether it's tree work or mucking out. And then we come in and we help them out on their worst day, and they're just blown away. You know, they just like, what do you mean no cost to me? We're like, no cost to you. What we're doing is spreading hope and love. That they just got off the disaster, and they have no idea how they're going to proceed forward. They may not know my name, that's not important. They know some guys and gals in gray shirts showed up and changed their world.
As an instructor, Kenneth is working to expand the ranks of TR Sawyers.
Remember, we have no danglies of any kind that can get caught up in your work.
Before any gray shirt is allowed to handle a chainsaw, they have to complete a 2-day S1 training session.
I became an instructor because I wanted to be able to be a force multiplier.
Day one is in the classroom. It's just learning, it's listening.
In the infantry, you learn a weapon by taking it apart. Well, guess how I learned about chainsaws.
To start off, we've got to build the saw. We've got to put the bar and chain onto the actual saw. We've got to inspect it. And then we've got to make sure it's all safe. And then before anything happens, we do a full PPE check. Make sure we've got boots, helmet, ears, eyes, masks. We've got a whistle. We've got our chaps. We've got our gloves. Everyone wants to be safe. Rule number 1, out into the field. Then we partnered up and headed outside to rev up the saws and practice our cuts on downed trees, with a lot of supervision from our instructors.
They're gonna get this grin on their face that they won't be able to wipe it off for like 2 days.
Thanks to Kenneth, I've completed my Sawyer training, and now I'm part of his army of chainsaw-wielding S1s. Ready for my first assignment. Team Rubicon crews have been busy removing the over 1,000 trees that have fallen throughout the state capitol as a result of the massive rainfall. Today, I'm ready to jump in and help.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin, right?
Yeah, I'm Kevin.
I'm Craig, or you
Craig.
call me Cooper.
Cooper, nice to meet
this
you.
Is Kimberly and Jeff.
Jeff, Kimberly.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
This
to meet
was
you
your
guys.
strike team today.
Craig Cooper is an Army vet and retired engineer who has been with Team Rubicon since 2017. One job at TR caught his eye early on.
I did a few ops, swamping, but I was watching the Sawyers. I'd never touched a chainsaw in my life, but I saw what they were doing. I saw that there were technical cuts. There were cuts from the bottom, cuts from the top. They're just not slashing and burning through things. They're thinking about this. I saw that, and I was like, I gotta be a Sawyer in this organization.
He immediately started his Sawyering journey. Training, putting in his time on the saw, eventually rising to the ranks of advanced Sawyer.
My favorite things about being a Sawyer and working for TR, coming out here and looking at a tree. Where's it gonna roll? What's up above me? How's that gonna fall? There's some thought that goes into almost every single cut. And it's one of the things I love about TR.
Craig wasn't always so confident about his direction in life. As a young adult, he struggled finding his way.
Went at it with the parents a little bit, got kicked out, was homeless. My address was 69 Firebird for about 3 months. And about the same time, I was just flunking out of junior college. So not a lot going on, but I was having a fun time. But it wasn't the right kind of fun. So my dad had said, hint, hint, the services might be a route for you before you get your shit together and go back to college. He wanted me to have a degree.
So Army did its job?
Army absolutely did its job. Taught me, respect and responsibility.
Nice. So you pop out of that, then what?
Right back into college. So I was absolutely motivated after 4 years to get at it. And I enjoyed a pretty close to a 30-year career in packaging.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dad's little whisper suggestion. Played out well.
Yeah.
It was another of his father's whispers that led him to Team Rubicon.
I was at a family reunion and I said, I think vets have already done their civil service. I don't think vets should ever have to do jury duty. I don't think that's asking much. It's a little benefit you could give us. And my dad, without breaking stride, just walked past and he said, service to man and community never ends. And he kept going. And I remembered that and I thought about it and I was like, okay. So I started looking for organizations.
When he heard about Team Rubicon, he knew it was the organization for him.
Veteran-led organization, that was key. And we help people on their worst days. And, disaster relief, I was like, well, that'd be kind of interesting work, to see what happens after a disaster. And so I went on my first op in 2017.
So gray shirt for life?
Absolutely, as long as I can.
Wearing this gray shirt helps Craig understand the significance of his father's sentiment about service to man and community never stopping.
One of the greatest feelings in the world is helping somebody that can never repay you. That's why I do. It's not just a shirt. It means you're having one of the worst days of your life. And I put this on. It means I'm coming. When I put this shirt on, it means I'm coming to help, and I'm bringing gray shirts with me. And you don't have to worry. That's what it means to me.
Our work orders today are a unique assignment. The city of Sacramento has requested our assistance removing 2 massive trees that have fallen at the state capitol. And Craig is just the guy I want by my side on my first operation as a Sawyer.
So are you or is anyone surprised that they've just deployed a volunteer veteran-led organization to the state capitol?
No. Not at all. No. Not at all. We're getting our name out there.
I mean, it must say something about your reputation if they're like, we got a team that's not city or county official, but they're willing to let us, I guess, work at the state capitol?
Absolutely. And you know, the kicker is we're the cheapest workforce out there.
Once we're boots on the ground, Craig's first order of business is to assess the scope of work. For a job of this magnitude, it's critical to have a plan before the chainsaws start running.
Wow.
That's a big tree.
Wow.
That's a big tree.
This is massive.
So this site just gets better and better.
Right.
Looks like eucalyptus. But what's gonna happen here is we'll take off from the end. That's the safest way to go. So way down there, we'll take off and we'll just assess as we go. This is huge. This could still stand back up after we take enough weight off, all right? Yep. So let's get saws out.
Kind of feel like getting thrown in the deep end of the pool, which is fine with me. Very big tree down right here, 1 of 2. So it sounds like we're going to be using the small saw, which I was trained on, the 261, but also the big saw, the 461, which I can use under supervision, as well as the pole saw. I'm on the right site. I'm pretty psyched.
To clear the area, we're going to trim the outer branches. Since it's my first time on the saw with TR, Craig is going to work alongside me.
We'll do that with a pole saw so we're got some distance and we can stay safe. I'll do the first cuts and load them up. So watch where I'm cutting, how I'm cutting, and then the second cycle I'll hand off to you, and we'll just keep rotating like that.
I'm game.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Starting saw. You repeat any command that I say so that I know you know I'm starting the saw.
Got it.
Starting saw.
Starting saw. Hot saw.
Hot saw. Kevin's doing really well. He's absorbing all the information I'm giving him, and he's receptive to it, and that is a huge part of becoming a good Sawyer. Kevin has chainsaw experience at his house, but he has to do it the TR way, because that allows Kevin to work with somebody from New York or Maine or Oregon or wherever. They're gonna know that Kevin's gonna make certain cuts, and it has to be the TR way.
Craig is satisfied with my progress on the pole saw and thinks I'm ready to move up to a chainsaw.
I want you to start working with Jeff as a new Sawyer. You're gonna work with our smallest saw, the 261. There's a lot of brush clearing and bucking and limbing that you'll be able to do. I want you to focus more on the limbing than the bucking.
Limbing is the process of removing branches from a downed or standing tree, and bucking is the process of cutting the downed tree into appropriate lengths.
As a new Sawyer, be safe. Have a firm place to stand. It shouldn't be hard, given this environment. Any questions?
No. Good.
You good?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Hats off.
That's all.
Let's bump down here to kind of the same thing on that other log. Let's just clean those all up. Ideally, we get this whole mess kind of down to just the big logs, and then we can size them up and figure out how to get the big stuff out.
Cool. Hats off.
That's all.
Coop, I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was actually a ton of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got multiple locations, so there's going to be a lot more opportunity for you to hone your skill set.
The fact that you can work on something this big my first day out, get, as you call it, trigger time,
Yeah.
I was psyched.
Yeah.
So they'll take it from here and we're on to the next?
We're on to the next one. We got multiple locations.
All right, good to go.
From a mitigation turned response in Sacramento, I'm flying south to Houston. Where in 2017, Hurricane Harvey stalled over the city for 4 days, flooding the area with 50 inches of rain.
Texas right now is in the grip of the most powerful storm to hit the United States in more than a decade.
The damage? Catastrophic. In the Houston area alone, over 150,000 homes were affected, the majority outside the flood zone, taking residents by surprise.
What do? Do I pick up my belongings? Do I grab my children and my pets and do I leave? Where do I go?
Team Rubicon mobilized, descending on a city with hundreds of volunteers to help where the need was the greatest.
I started praying, and my prayers got answered.
How did they get answered?
There were a sea full of gray shirts. I didn't know what gray shirts meant at the time, but they were my angels.